Take your time.
The NBA fines Phoenix Suns and Mercury owner Robert Sarver for racist and sexist actions. And we have an expert here with us.
Yeah, and the NBA also said he didn't treat his employees well. So attorney John Bell, who's an employment attorney, joins us. Hello, John. Good to see you.
Good morning.
Actually, can I start off topic? Do you think it's okay to share how much money you make with your colleagues? Would you encourage people to do that?
Well, I can tell you that there's a federal law, which was mentioned, the NLRB, that is protected. So oftentimes companies run afoul of that law. They put in their handbook that you're not allowed to discuss these salaries, and that's untrue. And they're opening up themselves for liability for a lawsuit because employees are well within their rights. That's how you prove discrimination and disparate treatment among race and gender and things of that issue.
Interesting. Yeah, okay. Good insight.
So let's talk about Robert Sarver and the Suns. I think a lot of people can relate to this, hopefully not too many, but you have, some people have described Sarver as a guy who thought he was funnier than he was, and he was trying to joke around, and he was trying to, but some of the things he did, obviously, were not okay. So you read, I'm sure, what was going on. What are your thoughts on the Sarver situation? Let's start that place.
Well, my thoughts are it's a wakening up call for many employers that they can't joke around in the workplace, even if it wasn't meant to be intentional or hurtful. Because what happens now is the NBA did this huge investigation that lasted a long time and substantiated both racial allegations and gender allegations, opening up the Suns to huge liability. Because if an employer now goes to a discrimination attorney, an employee goes to a discrimination attorney and says, I was treated differently because of my gender, I was pregnant, I was asked to leave, or because of my race, I wasn't treated fairly or equally. There's now an impartial NBA investigation substantiating that discrimination occurred. So banning him for 1 year and $10 million, that's just the beginning of the story. A lot of times you have to go through litigation to try to get this evidence, but this evidence now has already been established. So for the employees, if they feel like they're discriminated against, retaliated against, if they feel like their complaints went on deaf ears, they could take some very easy action right now.
So let's talk about boss, behavior in the workplace. Is there a big gray area, or can you give me your thoughts on that?
So under the law, you don't have to. There's no nice code. You could treat employees unfairly as long as you're not targeting somebody based on a protected class like race, age, religion, gender, disability, and things of that nature. But apparently, he made some sexist comments. He used the N-word, although I understand that he was quoting other people, but he still used the N-word in the
still
workplace.
not acceptable.
Yeah.
It's 100% not acceptable. So, people think that a hostile work environment or some type of fairness claim exists. It doesn't. You could be a bad boss. You just have to treat people equally.
And real quickly, we got about 30 seconds left. Let's say you do feel like you're being singled out, your job's being threatened every day, or stuff's going on. Is it smart to go to HR, or is it, because they work for the company, or is it smarter to go to somebody like you? What would you recommend?
I would recommend doing both. And you want to go to HR, you want to put everything in writing. You could start out with a verbal complaint, but you want to confirm it in writing because you don't want the company to deny the fact that you did make the complaint. Because once you complain, there's a ton of anti-retaliation statutes that you're protected against. And the employer has a duty to take action. They can't just sit there and do nothing.
All right. Employment attorney John Bell, thank you so much for your time this morning and insight. It's a big story here nationally.
Thank you, John. You were good. Like to have you back sometime.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate that.